This week, NVIDIA and Acer announced that they're going to include in their brand new laptops some new mobile graphics chips which will hit the market sometime in the third quarter of 2017, around the month of August. Now, the new graphics chips will be called the NVIDIA 10 Series Max-Q chips, which employ full Pascal-based 10 Series graphics cards that are heavily downclocked in order to have better power saving capabilities and a lower TDP, which means more battery life and lower temperatures at the exception of performance. And in some cases, more battery life and lower temperatures can be a deal breaker for laptop owners, particularly if they, have a hot keyboard or they want to have to, have a battery life that lasts longer. Now, essentially, by losing your performance, you should be able to play, like I said, for much longer, but without a charger this time, which can be important considering gaming laptops are, supposed to be, portable gaming machines. And if you're always stuck to a wall outlet 90% of the time, that only makes your laptop movable rather than portable. So both NVIDIA and Acer want to change that. So in Acer's new Predator Triton 700, in their top model, it's going to have an i7 7700HQ, 16GB of DDR4, 2400 MHz RAM, a USB Type-C Thunderbolt 3 port for external GPU support, and a new GTX 1080 Max-Q, which is powering a 15.6-inch 1080p IPS display, all at a weight of 2.6 kilograms. So it's pretty stock standard for thin gaming laptops in 2017. But like I said, the most important thing is this Max-Q NVIDIA graphics chip. Now, what even is that? Well, it's a full-fledged NVIDIA GTX 1080. It just has, all the same features that you would expect in terms of DX12 support, share, shadow play, GameWorks. It's got the same CUDA cores, the same memory speed, the same memory bandwidth. It's just running at a base clock speed of 1290 MHz as opposed to the usual 1556 MHz on the notebook GTX 1080. This now gives it a TDP of around about 110 watts as opposed to the usual 165 watts, giving us a potential power saving of up to 50%. Now with that, of course, like I said, it has diminished performance, but how bad is that diminishment in performance? Well, a GTX 1080 Max-Q is running now at that 1290 MHz boost clock, which then gives it 6.6 teraflops of power, and we don't know if it has a boost clock, but I would suspect not so since they're going for power saving. Now, when they run it under a 3D Mark 11 benchmark at 720p, the Max-Q chip scored 17,000 points, which sat just above a normal mobile GTX 1070 chip by around 2%. Now, obviously, when you scale up from 720p to 1080p, that 2% gap will become almost negligible or disappear entirely. So in other words, a Max-Q 1080 ran just like a normal 1070 chip would in a laptop, but most interesting is the power saving benefit as it was operating at an even lower TDP than the 1070 notebook chip was, whilst delivering that similar performance. So now it's running at 110 watts as opposed to the 120 watts of the notebook 1070. In addition, Max-Q chips will also be overclockable. How much they can be is unknown, but this may give the ability for some laptop manufacturers to allow you to go to that normal GTX 1080 performance at the expense of power, or maybe even possibly while you're just plugged into a wall outlet, it might just boost straight to that normal performance level if the cooling is sufficient. Now, they also mentioned that, there is going to be a 1070 Max-Q, but they didn't say if it was coming at around the same time or any specs on it. But I would infer that it means that you're going to get 1060 levels of performance out of that chip at possibly an even lower TDP than the normal 1060 notebook chip. So yeah, it's certainly a game changer for the mobile market, particularly for thinner laptops which have smaller battery capacities and inferior cooling solutions. But for me, I personally find gaming laptops a waste of money, mainly because they're overpriced, they're heavy sometimes, they run hot, and they suck up a lot of battery power and need to always be plugged in, kind of making them, a useless product. I mean, if I always have to charge it or keep it plugged in to play what I want to play, I might as well just have a desktop instead, since, you're always plugged into a wall outlet. Anyway, this new Max-Q chip isn't changing my mind into buying a gaming laptop, but it may change yours. Leave a comment in the comment section below, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next video or on HCL TV.